with a number of problems, from violent attacks on foreign nationals to gender-based violence. The country is seen by some as being on autopilot. While government has spoken out and condemned issues ravaging the country, not much action has taken place. Well, the Steel and Engineering Industries Federation of South Africa is challenging government to do more. Its CEO, Kaiser Nyatsumba, joins me in studio now to talk us through what he wrote 2 Sundays ago, a very scathing piece, lamenting what you said is a country seemingly on autopilot. We know that a number of steps have since been taken to demonstrate visible leadership. Are you convinced?
No, I wouldn't say it was a scathing piece. I'd say it was a very realistic and objective piece. Regrettably, we do not feel the kind of leadership that South Africa desperately needs. There are very many challenges confronting South Africa, economic, political, and social, and the government of President Cyril Ramaphosa is not doing as much as it should be. We really aren't feeling the kind of leadership that President Cyril Ramaphosa should be offering. He needs to assert himself much more. Yes, it is understandable that within the ANC-led tripartite alliance, he has a battle to fight. He has soldiers to marshal. But as President of the Republic of South Africa, he has all the levers of authority that are available to him as President. And there's a feeling that there are things the President should be doing, asserting himself much more, ensuring that he directs much more firmly the country's economic direction than he's doing so far. And it takes long for the President to pronounce on issues, whether it is the scourge of violence visited upon our female counterparts, our daughters, our wives, our mothers, and our sisters, or indeed whether it has got to do with the state of the economy. It takes long for the President to pronounce on those issues. And when he does pronounce, his voice is somewhat tentative and not authoritative. When we say there's a need for the President, his presence to be felt, and for him to be much more authoritative in his pronouncements, much more importantly in his doing.
You speak a lot about the President. In fact, you've taken aim at him in that piece. You say he's either reluctant to lead or completely out of depth. I'm not sure if I'm paraphrasing there, but you'll correct me. These were your words. Why do you feel so strongly that he is not doing what he ought to be doing?
Well, there was much hope in the run-up to the ANC's 54th National Conference in Nasrec that there would be firm leadership. When the President delivered his first State of the Nation address when he was finishing Jacob Zuma's term, he promised a lot to the country. Some of those things have yet to happen. He promised a deliberate fight against corruption that we have seen happening. And it is the only thing, in my view, for which the President has got to be given credit, together with his deliberate efforts to attract investment to the country. But he hasn't done much. He promised, for instance, that the cabinet was going to be reduced quite considerably. This was February 2018. Did he reduce the cabinet considerably? No. Yes, he would appear to have given, to have taken into consideration various views within the ANC-led tripartite alliance and given priority to balancing things. It is still one of the largest cabinets in the world. It is not the cabinet that he promised South Africa. If you look at the pronouncements made by the President then, and indeed some of the various other pronouncements, you'd find that there are statements that are made that are encouraging at the time, but delivery.
What does he do, Mr. Nyatsumba, in the face of intractable factionalism within the ANC that seems hell-bent on actually sabotaging his very government?
The problems of the ANC are the President's problems. We are not interested in those. We recognize that they are a reality, but as President of the country, he has all the authority to take the country in the direction in which it needs to be taken. He has all the authority to do that. And we stand ready to support the President of the Republic. And we believe that he can do much more. There is nothing that constrains him as President of the Republic from doing that which the country requires of him. Yes, within the ANC, there are various challenges there. But even then, I don't want to talk about that. We believe that he can do much more. But we are concerned about him as President of the Republic of South Africa. We, the business community, would like to see a president who decisively takes actions and who leads the country in a direction that would see the economy grow, who is not as tentative as would appear to be the case so far.
But you, corporate South Africa, have got a responsibility as well that you've got to shoulder. You've been said to be on investment strike. You're not helping this country.
That is true. You see, there's a narrative that in the recent weeks has been coming up that says we all have a responsibility, and I agree. It is our view at CIFSA that business, labor, and government have a responsibility to the country. But let us not be misled. Our responsibility is not the same. We don't have the levers of power. We were not elected into office. The government's primary responsibility is to ensure that there's a climate conducive to growth in the country. The country is attractive to investment. For as long as we have, we have various trucks on the N3 hijacked, set on fire. We have various acts of criminality taking place, and this government is not doing anything. They are very good at making various pronouncements. We will clamp down on that criminality, but practically there's very little happening. And this is a government that is not at all lacking in legitimacy. That is discouraging.
We're out of time, but thank you very much for making the time to speak to us here. Very passionate indeed. Kaiser Nyatsumba, he is the CEO of the Steel and Engineering Industries Federation of South Africa.